Hey everyone, it's Carissa at Sprinkled with Glitter. Thanks for stopping by today. Today I wanted to show you how to use small sentiments in a big way, and I'm going to be using some new products from Altenew. This is a part of their May release blog hop. Head on over to my blog for more information about that as well as a giveaway. I'm starting out with the halftone heart stamp set. I'm going to be using this in my projects today. It of course has the coordinating dies for those sentiments. When I used the halftone circles, you guys loved it. So I'm going to use this one today. There's also the Crafty Friends stamp set. This has a bunch of sentiments in a bunch of different fonts, little sentiments like I'm going to be using today, as well as some bigger ones. So if you have a bunch of crafty friends that you like to make cards for, this would be a great one to pick up. And then also there is the Budding Thanks stamp set, the Best Buds stamp set, as well as the coordinating dies. Now these two stamp sets coordinate. You have the layering stamp set as well as the outline stamp set. In this layering stamp set, there's a guide on the back to show you how to layer them up. Or if you just like to do straight coloring, you can use the Best Buds stamp set that also has these really great sentiments in it as well. And you can do some coloring or watercolor with that. And then that die set coordinates with both of those stamp sets. So I have my mini Misty here, and I am going to use this halftone heart. I'm going to position it where I want it on my card front. This card front is cut down to 4 by 5 1/4. And I am going to then flip my card around because I guess I tend to use my Misty backwards. I don't know. I guess I use it the left-handed way. But I'm going to flip it over to where the lid is to my right-hand side today. And that just allows me to have that heart hanging off the edge of this card front. Now, when I picked that up, there was a bunch of air underneath my stamp, and I find I don't get great stamped impressions when I have all that air. So I leave one side down and pick it up and kind of smush all that air out, smooth it out before I stamp it. And now I'm using some VersaFine Onyx Black pigment ink to stamp this onto my Nina Solar White card front. I have my microfiber cloth because it is no longer winter and I cannot pull my long sleeves down to rub over the top of my Misty, but what I'm basically doing is just rubbing over the entire stamp so that I get a great stamped image. Now these are brand new stamps, so I wasn't getting a great image to begin with, but as I used these more, I was getting perfectly great stamped images. So I went ahead and just inked that up twice and stamped it in the exact same spot so that I got good coverage. And now I'm going to cover it with some crystal clear embossing powder and heat set that. Now, Altenew has come out with some new embossing powders. They have a white one, a clear one, and then they also have some antique gold, and then this golden peach one. And I didn't use this in my cards today, but I wanted to show you this beautiful kind of rosy gold peach color that you get with this new embossing powder. And I'll have links to that in the description below. So I went ahead and did a few of those card fronts with the halftone heart stamp set with that big giant heart. And now I'm going to take my little tiny sentiments and use them in a big way. So what I have are 3 colors of a kind of teal colored cardstock, and I'm going to take those little sentiment strips from the stamp set and emboss them onto these different colors of cardstock. So I am using the Altenew white embossing powder. I prepped the surface of my cardstock first with my EK Success powder tool and then stamped 3 different sentiments from the stamp set in Versamark ink and coated them with the Altenew pure white embossing powder. And now I'm just heat setting those. And then I'm going to take each one of these over to my trimmer and trim out a little strip with that sentiment on it. I like to emboss and stamp first because I can make sure that I get my sentiment perfectly centered on the strip when I cut it out. But if you prefer, you could cut your strips down first and then emboss on top of it. So now I'm just arranging these kind of in an ombre fashion on top of this heart that I stamped in some coral berry ink from Altenew. And I'm going to cut each of these strips into an angle here. Now, on their own, this little tiny sentiment wouldn't do much, but with 3 of them grouped together on these different colors of cardstock, they really pop and make a statement on the front of this card. So I've taken and I've cut down some foam adhesive and I'm just positioning these to where they overlap that heart. And I am using my grid mat to make sure that I get these nice and straight on my card front. I'm kind of lining them up before I trim them down. Once I get them attached to my card front and I'm sure I have them where I want them, I'm going to press them into place and then flip this card front over and trim all the extra off. So, it wouldn't be a card from me without a few sparkling clear sequins. So I am just adhering those on using my multi-medium in the matte finish and that precision tip. I like to arrange my sequins first onto my card front and then just kind of push up the edge and put my adhesive underneath them. I just find that that works best for me. And then as an alternative, I wanted to show you a couple more of these cards. I've gone ahead and embossed them again, but I've made sure that my strips are nice and long this time. That way I can stretch these across the card front at an angle. If they're too short, these strips will not fit all the way across your card front. So I made sure and made them nice and long. And I trimmed down my foam adhesive and I'm putting those along the back of my strips. And then once again, I'm just going to stretch these across that card front here at an angle this time. And this just gives a little bit different look. I think that this is really kind of a cool way. You could actually do this with a bunch of sentiments in like rainbow order all the way down your card front, and I think it would be super cool. A great way to use those tiny little strip sentiments that sometimes we don't always find a place for. This really makes them a big impact on your card front here. So I'm just finishing up with this kind of ombre effect in my sentiment strips. I'm going to adhere them all across that card front and then trim them down. Now for this card, I'm using that clear heat embossed black heart, and I'm going to add a little bit of black and white pattern paper along the edge of this. This card front's a little bit smaller. Those other ones with the colored hearts, they were a standard 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. This one's a little bit smaller. It's cut down so that I can put it down onto a card front and have it kind of floating there in the middle. And for the sentiments on this one, I chose a pink, a yellow, and a teal color that kind of gives me a rainbow effect instead of that ombre effect. Now it's fun to play with different colors of cardstock. You can use little scraps of cardstock to do this. That's the great thing about this also, is not only do these small sentiments end up making a big impact, but you can also use your scraps for this. Now I did want to show you a card using the sentiments from the Halftone Hearts stamp set. I'm stamping these in the Altenew Pure Graphite ink onto Neenah Solar White cardstock. I wasn't sure how many I would use, so I went ahead and stamped a bunch of them. And now I'm using the coordinating dies to trim them out or cut them out. I like to use the Frog Delicate Surface Painter's Tape to hold my dies in place. I just find I have really good results with that. I don't ever rip my paper, and it is strong enough to hold those in place. So if you're looking for a good tape to kind of have on hand for holding dies in place, I really recommend that Frog Delicate Surface Painter's Tape. It is the delicate surface one. It is the yellow one, so make sure you pick that one up and not the blue one. So now I'm taking these die cut sentiments and I'm adhering them onto some long cardstock strips using some foam adhesive. And I'm going to position these across that stamped heart once again at an angle. I'm going to use some foam tape behind them as well. So the sentiment is adhered over the top of this cardstock strip using some foam adhesive, and then the cardstock strip is also going to be adhered to the card front using some foam adhesive. So I get a double kind of effect here. They sit up a little bit higher than those cardstock strips. Keep in mind that if you don't want your cards to have as much dimension, you can always skip the foam adhesive. I like big cards. I've said it before. So here's a look at some of the cards that I created today. Different variations using these smaller sentiments in big ways on your card front. As I mentioned before, this video is a part of the Altenew May product release blog hop. So head on over to my blog because you can see more still shots, find more information, a complete list of supplies used in these projects, and some information on that blog hop and a giveaway. Thanks for stopping by today. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to subscribe and give this video a thumbs up. I really appreciate it. And until next time, I hope you have a fabulous day.